Perfect. Thanks, Donal. And hey guys, my name is Clara Walsh, and I'm delighted to be here today to chat through life at Workvivo and hopefully give you a glimpse into what culture is like at Workvivo, and then an overview of some open roles that we have today. So a little bit about myself. My name is Clara. I'm the operations manager here at Workvivo, and we'll be coming up on 4 years, and it feels like 4 very short years. I was one of the first employees that John and Joe brought on board. So I've seen us grow from a team of 4 people to close and over 100 people. So it's been an incredible journey over the last 4 years, and I've been really privileged to get an insight into all areas and aspects of the business. So what I'm going to do is just explain what Workvivo is. So at Workvivo, we are the employee experience app that brings your entire company together. So we get to work with some of the most amazing brands globally across the world. For example, VMware, TELUS International, Mercedes-Benz, Lululemon, and then some really great Irish brands like Woody's, Bosserins, and some universities. And every employee in these companies get a profile on Workvivo where they can post updates and then actually consume company updates as well. So Workvivo becomes the digital heart of your company. And the way we've designed it is that it should be really familiar to all employees, just the same way you consume content in your personal life on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. When you get onto Workvivo, it should feel like a very familiar experience for you. And Workvivo is there to create meaningful connections for you and your team, and then help your company engage all of their employees through the means of Workvivo. In terms of our story, so we have 2 incredible founders leading us here at Workvivo. The first is John Goulding and also Joe Lennon. So John and Joe got together in 2017 and over a couple of cups of coffee founded Workvivo. So we are headquartered in Cork, which we're really proud of. And both John and Joe have really strong backgrounds and experience in the HR sphere. So they knew they wanted to do something in this area. So John is an incredible businessman who is driving us on this mission to really enhance employee experience. And when you tie that up with Joe, who John has described as a once-in-a-generation tech guy, you really couldn't ask for 2 better founders to be leading us and leading this company. In terms of our investors, so we were fortunate to receive some seed investment from Eric Yuan, who is the CEO of Zoom. And in 2020, we did our Series A investment, which was led by Enterprise Ireland, Frontline, and Tiger Global. If you check out Workvivo online, you'll find that we are the #1 rated employee experience app on G2, and we're also the fastest trending app globally, which is really amazing. And on G2, all of these reviews are from our customers, and they're all about people who work here and the product, which is really amazing. So if you do get a chance, definitely check out G2 to see those reviews. And then we've had some, we've been featured in some amazing news outlets like Forbes over the last couple of years. So in terms of Workvivo, we are in that hyper growth phase, which is absolutely amazing. We've over 1 million users across 90 countries globally using Workvivo, and that's spread over 200 customers. And here's just a sample of some of those logos. So VMware, Amazon, Netgear, etc. And this shows the spread of our customers, which is pretty amazing. It makes for a very different day when you're working with so many different types of customers. And then in terms of our people, we've over 100 people today, and we've many open roles this year, which I'm really excited to talk to you about today. In terms of our culture, so I want to just give you a glimpse into what life at Workvivo is like. One of the, I suppose, challenges of working from home is you are working remotely, and how do you make sure every employee has a sense of belonging and knows what the Workvivo culture is? So at the end of last year, we made a very conscious effort to put pen to paper to understand and really write down what our values are, what makes Workvivo Workvivo, and why our employees love to work here. And how we did that is we actually asked all of our employees those exact questions. So our employees have created our culture code. We took that survey, we did focus groups, and now we have a really great culture code, which I'm going to bring you through in just a moment. And before I get into that, I just want to show you this illustration, which I hope has come across of people rolling down a hill. And I'll explain that and what that means in just a second. But our mantra is that we take what we do very seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And where the rolling down the hill came from is in 2019, we signed Leia Healthcare as a customer. And at the time, Leia had a TV advert of people rolling down the hill, and you had people in wedding dresses, sumo suits, and all different types of get-up. And when we signed Leia, John had the idea of us going and recreating that video and rolling down the hill. Now, it turns out that hill is in Croatia, so we're hoping 2022 or 2023 is our year to actually go and create that video. But the rolling down the hill has stuck with us because when we were interviewing people, we used to ask ourselves, would that person roll down the hill? Do they not take themselves too seriously? So that's really stuck with us as we've grown. So watch this space for us to hopefully someday go ahead and roll down that hill, hopefully without causing any bodily harm, but watch this space for that one. And then in terms of our values, I hope you see in this deck, and in just a second, creativity is really at the forefront of everything that we do and every touch point that we have at Workvivo. So when we took our values and that our employees had created, we wanted to just mold them into something very special. So what we did was we took our values and we mirrored them on songs or artists. So our very first value is better together. So this is from Jack Johnson, and it's all about the people who work here. So we all pull in the same direction, we all look out for one another, and we go above and beyond for one another. And we've seen this many times in the past. When there's a really big mountain to climb, there's a really big task, it's not one team that crushes it, it's the whole company together. And that's really the true togetherness of Workvivo and the true collaboration of everyone who works here. And our next value is come as you are, which is from Nirvana. And this really actually came from John and Giddy, our CMO. And this is all about how everybody gets to bring their whole self to work. Be yourself, everyone else is taken. I think this value is the really important one for us as we scale from 100 to 200 and beyond. We really need to protect this because we've created such an environment that's so safe for employees to come and bring their true self to work. And we know that when you bring your true self to work, you bring your best self to work. So this is the one that every employee, we're going to protect as long as we can. The next one is Imagination Dragons, and we know that the band is called Imagine Dragons, but we're in talks with them to see will they change their name. It's unlikely, but here's hoping. And this is all about our creativity. So we love to explore new ideas. We think the crazier, the better, and absolutely every suggestion is cherished. But we also provide feedback on ideas and challenge one another. So we truly believe that we are Imagination Dragons. And the next one is No Limits, which is an absolute tune if anyone hasn't heard it. And this is all about how the people who work here are really ambitious. So we aspire to be the best and believe we can achieve anything. Again, when we are up against a challenge that seems impossible, we make it possible. And No Limits really comes to life with our new hires that we bring on board. Our hiring process, which we'll talk to in a little bit, can have a couple of rounds, but it's because we want to bring people in who raise the bar, and then everybody in the team grows and evolves as we bring new people on and we reach new limits with new hires. So we're continuing to grow, which is pretty amazing. And then our very last one, which is probably my favorite, is You've Got a Friend. This is really about that we're committed to our employees, to our customers and each other, and that we're committed to improving employee experience across the globe. And really, You've Got a Friend. Sometimes we're on calls and it doesn't really feel like work. There's just some amazing people here and amazing characters that make for really, really great and interesting days. So our value summed up is that we are better together. We all come as we are. We're Imagination Dragons with no limits, but you always have a friend. In terms of what we offer and the benefits, so we are a remote first employer. So we want all of our employees to work from wherever they're most comfortable. Now, I think you can say we're remote first, but we're not remote only. We're going to have, maybe once a quarter, the team getting together. In May, we're celebrating our 5th birthday. So the whole company is getting together, which should make for a really exciting couple of days. And that's going to be like, we haven't seen each other in that scale in so long. That's going to be really great. But we're also putting it up to the employee in terms of, you know, as there's a return to work, what suits the employee and the person. Some people want to come back to the office, which is perfectly fine, and we're going to support that. Others want to opt for the hybrid approach, and there's some people who want to stay completely remote. Again, we're asking our employee what suits them rather than mandate something. In terms of our offices, we currently have an office in Cork, Dublin, and London, and hopefully we'll have a presence on the East Coast as well. We have unlimited annual leave. We know that we work really, really hard, and we want employees to take that time to relax and switch off. So we do offer unlimited annual leave, and probably my favorite perk, nobody works on their birthday. I was fortunate, it was my birthday yesterday, so I have a nice 4-day week, but getting your birthday off, it's a you day. You take that day, whatever day it is during the week, and if it's on a Saturday or a Sunday, you take the Friday or the Monday and make a nice long weekend out of it. We also offer competitive salary, pension, but I think what's really important is the work-life balance. I suppose we try and keep, we say policy with a small p. Our policy is 100% trust up front, and that's the same for the annual leave, but also for your work-life balance. We know there's a job to be done, and we trust you to do it on your schedule. So really, you can structure your day. If you need to pop it in the morning, drop the kids to school during the day, that work-life balance is really, really important to us. And then finally, the amazing, diverse and talented team that we have here. We have built a team with people from all different backgrounds and some incredible personalities, and it just makes for a very diverse team, which ultimately fosters creativity amongst the teams here. In terms of our open roles, so I've just some of those roles up on screen right now. So in customer success, that's customer success managers, renewal and onboarding managers. Crossover to marketing, that's product and content marketers, and social media specialists. And then in product and engineering, product managers, product designers, engineers, and QA engineers. And then over to sales, we have some partner managers, sales enablement, account executives, and sales development reps. So I might just pause for 1 sec and introduce 3 of my colleagues on the call today as well, so it's not just me chatting. Jen, who is our leading up our customer experience team for all things strategic customers. Andrea, who is our wizarding software engineering manager who leads the engineering team, and Eleanor, who's our comms and PR relations manager. So hopefully, if you guys have any questions on the role or what life is like at Workvivo, that I can stop talking and hand over to the guys. So Jen, I might give you a quick sec to start off introducing yourself, if that's okay.
Sure.
A glass of water.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks a million, Clara, and thanks everybody else for taking the time to join today as well. So my name is Jen Jordan, and I've worked in Workvivo for almost 3 years now. So my role is as a customer experience manager, and when I joined, I was actually the second CX manager at the company. So it's a bit different now. So when I joined first, the role meant that I was the key point of contact for new customers from the day that they signed up with us, and that meant I was responsible for onboarding new customers and also for the long-term customer success. But we've actually started to specialize now. So we're bringing more people into the team. And now those roles have split. So there are some people who are responsible for onboarding new customers and other people who are responsible just for customer success. And like Clara said, I'm actually now responsible for our strategic customers. So the customers who are kind of 5 or 10,000 people and up. So I kind of specialize now in looking after those larger customers. But basically, as a CX manager at Workvivo, it means that it's my job to make every interaction our customers have with Workvivo as enjoyable as possible. And we're just, I suppose the platform is all about, positivity and bringing people together. So our interactions with our customers need to be about that as well. So we try and make it engaging and fun when we're partnering with our customers too.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jen. Andrea?
Yeah, so hey everyone, thanks for joining today. So as Clara mentioned, my name is Andrea Graham, and I'm engineering manager in Workvivo, coming up on almost 3 years now. So similar to Clara and Jen, I've been an early employee, and I've been in absolute awe being involved in watching Workvivo's growth and being involved over the past 3 years, and very excited for where we're going as well. So I'm lucky I get to work with a brilliant team of engineers to develop Workvivo's web, mobile, and desktop applications every day. And as we mentioned, we're growing our teams and we're working on great technologies. And I'm very much looking forward to discussing these roles with you today.
Magic. Thanks so much, Andrea. Eleanor, last but not least.
Thanks, Clara. So I'm Eleanor. I'm the PR and comms manager at Workvivo. I actually only joined 6 months ago, so I'm newer than the other gals. But I worked with Workvivo in my previous role, come from kind of journalistic background. I did a lot of comms and PR for startups in Ireland and in the US. And it's been fantastic ever since I've joined. The culture just strikes you immediately. The marketing team is nice and small, but we're growing really fast. And really my job is about telling the Workvivo story. That's about our platform, but also about like the wider story, how the world of work has changed, really relevant to you guys at Grow Remote. As you know, we've all shifted kind of to this new way of working. I also do things like social media, analyst relations. And the great thing about the working at Workvivo, I think, is there's a lot of room for growth as the company grows and everyone can kind of find their niche and develop with time. So yeah, it's been really positive and happy to take any questions about the marketing side of things.
Brilliant. Thanks, Eleanor. I actually don't know, do we have any questions lined up?
Yeah,
if
thanks.
not, I know Jen has lots of pre-canned ones.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to have the team from Workvivo here, and we've had some questions throughout the week as we've been letting people know about the Jobs Club, and some people over text and email and on our Slack channel have got in touch. So we've got questions about the roles themselves, but I think a lot of those culture questions have been answered, and actually it'd be nice to maybe hear some more about the roles, and then we can actually open it up to anything from the group here, from people on the call here. But I'll type in some of these questions that we've received throughout, and then we can come back to them. Thanks very much, Clara.
One thing we might do, Andrea, to even go through the engineering role and the tech stack and all that good stuff, if that would be okay with you. And I'll put you on the spotlight.
Sure. No, that sounds great, definitely. So on the engineering side, we're looking for full stack engineers, we're looking for mobile engineers, and we're looking for QA engineers as well. So the tech stack that we're using at the moment is Laravel on the back end, so PHP framework. We're using React on the front end, and we use React Native on the mobile side, and we're all hosted on AWS. So real modern technologies, it's very exciting. You have the opportunity to have a lot of input, a lot of involvement. We run agile teams, so we run in 2-week sprints, and the teams run autonomously. And as well, they're multidisciplinary teams. So on that team, you work as if you're an engineer, for example, in software development, you work alongside QA, you work alongside product management and design. So it's a really kind of creative environment. It's very exciting. It's fun to be involved in. A lot of responsibility available for engineers as well, to take ownership of features. So yeah, that's kind of it in a quick nutshell.
That's brilliant, Andrea. And I just see here we have a question from Slack on terms of what is the interview process for Workvivo. So I know that it's different. Definitely from the product side and the CS side. Do you want to jump in, Jen, from the customer success side, and then we can pass over to Andrea as well?
Sure thing. Yeah, absolutely. So typically what happens is, Clara mentioned in kind of the overview at the start, we are quite rigorous with the interview process. So we like people to meet as many people on the team as possible as part of the process. So usually it'll start off with maybe kind of a screening call, maybe with the hiring manager or somebody else on the CX side. And then typically after that, what happens is we try and kind of team up on the team. So we'll have an interview, a 45-minute interview with two people on the team, and then probably another 45-minute interview with 2 other people on the team. So you get to meet kind of a good variety of people. And that's for you as well as it is for us. We want to make sure it's not just about us making sure you're the right fit for us. It's about you making sure that we're the right fit for you as well, you know, and that's really, really important to us. That's why we go through so many steps. And then following that, typically we try and get kind of a short call into the diary with either our COO or our CEO, or sometimes both, if we can get the time in the diary. So we do try, and it's a lot of steps, but we do try to turn the process around quite quickly. So typically if that's happening, that process would be over in about 2 weeks. So we do try and get through it quite quickly and make sure that the feedback is quite quick coming back to candidates as well.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jen. Andrea, is it similar on your side?
Yeah, it would be similar enough in that we do have 2 rounds of interviews as well with peer interviews. We'll definitely be meeting myself along the way, and then final round will be with our CTO as well. So it's very similar as Jen mentioned, but for us, when it comes to interview, like a big thing we're looking for is someone with a passion for technology, someone with a passion for learning, someone who's going to come in, wants to be part of the Workvivo story, wants to make a difference. With regard to the technology stack as well, we're definitely open to people working on similar stacks. For example, you might have Angular experience rather than React. We're very open to that. People coming in who are willing to learn and just want to go on this Workvivo journey with us.
Brilliant. Thanks, Andrea. Eleanor, I think you might give out to me for this one. I have a tough question coming your way. No, if you have any issues, let me know. So someone's asked, I've never worked remotely, but I think I have all the skills that are relevant. Am I at a disadvantage without the remote experience? And maybe just even to chat through your own experience working remotely.
Yeah, no, not at all. So I started off as a remote employee, and it was comfortable for me. It was a great experience. Everyone is super personable, super approachable as well. And the onboarding was great. I came in with a lot of docs ready to go, and the setup was super quick. And again, I just think the personal touch in everything is seen from the start. So I wouldn't say you're at a disadvantage at all. And as Clara said earlier, it's a mixed bag in terms of who works where. People work in Cork, people work distributed across Ireland. Some people go into the office. We have a great Dublin hub here, as well as the Cork HQ. So you really have a lot of options to shape your kind of workplace experience.
Brilliant. Thanks, Eleanor. Yeah, it's great to be able to pop back up to, the Dublin office for a day or two and back to seeing some faces. That's always really, really great. Guys, I'm going to ask whoever would like to answer this one. So what collaborative and teamwork tools do you use in Workvivo?
Yeah, I can take that one. I would definitely say Workvivo, our own tool, is absolutely at the heart
10 out of 10.
Everything. Well, I check it multiple times. I love posting on it. I love looking at updates, commenting, everything. I couldn't imagine us not having it, I suppose, part of our workplace. And it's such a key part of my day and how I communicate with the team. As well as that, with regard to other communication tools, similar to kind of what Eleanor was saying on the remote side, we're a big Zoom team. We're very much kind of cameras on as well. We love to be able to feel like you're chatting with the person while in the comfort of wherever you want to work. So I think that's a big one for us. And it's always, striking the balance of what people are comfortable with. But I think when it's that kind of environment, people love coming in and just being able to see each other. We use another tool called Tuple, it's called, which is really good for screen sharing. And if we're doing paired programming, that's another one. Slack for messages then as well. And then on the tech side, I mentioned AWS is obviously a big one for us for hosting the platform. And then GitHub as well for storing our code, and then lots of other smaller ones as well. But I always think they're the bigger, more interesting ones on the development side.
Yeah, Workvivo is the most important one, so we have that one, and it is. I think on Workvivo we are really big users of it, and we do this series called Spotlight, where it's a spotlight article on employees. So there's a bank of questions that you can answer in terms of your hobbies, and you find out that we work with skiing ninjas and archaeologists. And I only found this out from Spotlight that that you kind of forget people have lives before Workvivo, and just to hear all the incredible things that people have done in their personal and work life is always really amazing through the Spotlight. So it's definitely my favorite use of Workvivo.
I think just to add to that as well, it's something that I always do with new joiners is I give them specific things to go and look up on our internal Workvivo, because what's nice about it is because you're not sitting beside people in an office, if you're remote, you don't hear those kind of tidbits and the history of working there. So there's some things, like Clara was saying, we take birthdays quite seriously. So there's a series of old videos from the early days in Workvivo about how passionate we were about birthdays and celebrating people's personal successes. And as soon as you join, you can go back and look at all of that, so you get a feel straight away away about, you know, what the culture is like and what the company is all about. And that's something that I really love about it for new joiners, you know.
Yeah, that's something we realized didn't scale. John used to get celebrity birthday videos whenever it was your birthday. But as we got bigger and bigger, it was getting harder and harder. So we have some good ones.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. I've got another question actually from Jess, who's on the call here. So coming from a background with over 5 years of customer service and looking to pivot to customer success, is Workvivo open to people who are eager to learn and who may not necessarily have strict customer success experience?
Yeah, I would say absolutely, 100%. And it's one of the things I love about it as well, is that people are from such varied backgrounds. So as long as people are, like Andrea was saying, are passionate about what it is that we're trying to do as a company and about the way that we do things, and that there are transferable skills, and we would 100% be open to talking to people, because at the end of the day, the diversity of experience is really important for us to be able to bring different focuses into the team. And for myself, I wasn't from a customer success background originally. And I definitely think that actually adds a lot to the wider team. So 100%, yeah.
That's great. And another question from Slack: are you hiring from outside Ireland, or do I need to live in Ireland?
Yeah, at the moment, our bases are Ireland, the UK, and the US. That's just the regions we're at the moment. But definitely, like if that person, I wouldn't let that stop them applying and go through the interview process. But right now it is employees from Ireland, UK, and the US. But like I said, if they're interested in the role, we'd love to hear from them.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I don't know if you guys want to talk through any of these roles specifically. I know that there will be people who are watching this back, or people who are on the call right now who are interested in maybe specific roles, and because it's so diverse, because it's so broad, you know, it might be nice to just get a little bit of an overview of each of those.
What I would actually say, Donald, and I didn't get to this, is if you are interested in any of the roles on screen and there's any questions that you have, definitely get in touch with us at careers@workvivo.com. One thing that we do is we actually have quite a lot of exploratory calls with people as well, to understand, you know, if someone is interested in a role. We'll jump on a very quick Zoom call to say hello and to meet the person. So if you do have any questions in terms of any of the roles, life at Workvivo, we'd be more than happy to facilitate those conversations. But in terms of roles that we have open, I'm not sure if there's anything in particular you'd like us to go into. They're quite varied, but we could go in any direction.
Yeah, I think there was some people during the week were asking me about the sales roles. So maybe if there's maybe the difference, and also specifically, there's often an ask about, you know, senior sales roles versus junior roles. And actually that goes across the different departments. So maybe let us know particularly about the sales, but also what junior roles you have open as well.
Yeah, what I would say is we've been a very flat organization to date. We haven't got layers and layers of hierarchy. Don't get me wrong, as we scale, we will have to change that. But we don't a lot of the time don't target things as senior or junior. It's the role, and then it's up to the employee in terms of their experience. So I know, Andrea, probably on your side, definitely senior, and I don't want to say the word junior, but there is that differentiation for engineers. But across the board, I think we go on the job, and then the person, and then if it's a good match, work out what level it is. But definitely on the sales side, we have a really, really great sales team. It's grown, it's doubled in size starting this year, but we do have further roles in terms of AEs, so account executives, and they're based in both UKI and the US as well. So if anyone is interested in the account executive role, that would be amazing. And I believe our SDR roles are primarily based in the US right now. But again, if you are an SDR and interested, I would definitely pop us a note to careers@workvivo.com.
Brilliant. And we have another question from someone on the call here. Are there any roles part-time, or are all the roles currently hiring full-time?
At the moment, they are all full-time roles.
Cool. So that one's from Moira there. Brilliant. And we had some questions through on Slack about, I suppose the remote culture is something that maybe very different in different companies, but you really explained a lot, and it's great that you guys are meeting up. Is it later this month, you said, or later in the year?
In May, yeah.
May, lovely. And Grow Remote is actually meeting up later this month, so really looking forward as a remote first organization to get to see people in person, because we've only sort of met once before Christmas last year. So yeah, it's a vital part of building that rapport, building that trust, and getting to know your colleagues in a different context. So it's great to hear you guys are doing that. And we had a few questions about this, about how do you get the best? I don't know, Workvivo does this probably as the expert, but maybe you could share some insights about how you can get the best out of your team in Workvivo, and maybe for any new employees, new hires coming in, what should they be thinking about getting the most out of themselves? What are the maybe 3 core skills or core things that they should be looking to bring to Workvivo to work in a remote setting? And maybe these are things that you're looking for.
Yeah, I can definitely start there, and might need a little bit of help on that one. That was that's a chunky question, but I think one of the most important things we've seen bringing, getting new joiners start is having that sense of belonging and really understanding what Workvivo is. And that's where having the culture code now is really, really great. Every employee gets a training, gets brought through that in their induction. But we also have, for any new joiner, they get sessions with every team across the company. So you get an intro to solutions, to sales, to product, to CX, to marketing. So that straight away you're getting to know who's who does what do the different teams do. So you kind of get embedded in the organization straight away. We have a great onboarding plan that we put into place where really that very first week, it's almost like a bit of a timetable where you know what you'll be doing. And one really important thing is I suppose the candidate experience before you start with Workvivo. We want to make sure you have your equipment on the day so that you're good to go, and that also you know what's happening on, let's say if you were starting on a Monday. So having that communication before the employee starts is really, really important. But in terms of the onboarding itself, I think we've lots of team check-in calls. So being a remote company, you do need to check in with your team. So there's a range of different team stand-ups, a wider team stand-up and then a smaller team stand-up. So I know that we all touch base with our team every day, and then also to have those very important one-on-one check-ins as well to really understand how someone is getting on with their onboarding. In terms of that's I suppose the business side of things. One thing that we have as well is coffee catch-up calls that are completely optional, but let you meet people from different teams that you may not see on a day-to-day basis because you're not on Zoom calls with them. So having those scheduled social calls is really important as well, so that you can get a feel for different people and meet different people outside of your team, which is amazing. I might open up to the rest of the guys there to see if there's anything else that I've missed.
I know, definitely, say on our side, we have stand-ups every morning, right, with the team. And when you come on the stand-up, it's always starts with, hey, how's it going? What were you up to last night? It's never straight down to business. So it kind of brings the personal touch into it a little bit more. So we've grown now where we have multiple teams, and on a Wednesday, all the teams come together and we have a big joint stand-up where it's really nice to chat to everyone that you might be chatting to day. That's definitely a big part for us. When someone new joins, we literally have a dedicated meeting of the whole department where we just meet to chat, to get to know that person. Then they go up, we have a company meeting as well, company-wide every week, where that person would introduce themselves, say a few things about themselves, put a post up on our Workvivo so everyone can get to know them a little bit more. But it's that sense of, you want to know the person for who they are as well. Anytime if I'm having a meeting with someone, it'll always be, hey, how's it going? If I want to message someone, how are you first, rather than straight down to bring in the personal side. And the big thing then is that you want people to feel comfortable where they know they can come to talk to you, and bringing it back to being able to bring your whole self, because we do care about every part of it. And like Clara said, we do have serious work to do, but we don't take ourselves too seriously as well. We want to make sure everyone feels good about being here, and then we can get the work done, because that's the main thing for us, I would definitely say.
Yeah, and just I would say +1 on all of that. And it's funny actually, Andrea, our full team meeting is also on a Wednesday, so it must be something special about the middle of the week where we're getting everybody together. But just only we're asking as well about maybe like 3 things that would, you know, kind of make people successful, or things that we'd be saying to new joiners. So like for me, the first thing would be that thing myself and Andrea both mentioned about like bringing energy or passion into what you're doing. So everybody at Workvivo, like you can feel it when you're in the meetings, everybody really cares and enjoys what it is that they're doing. You know, it's not a chore. Nobody is thinking, oh God, it's Monday morning, I have to go to work. Everybody's looking forward to those team meetings and kind of having a bit of a chat. So that energy or passion, I think, is really important. And then the 2 other things, for me anyway, would be to speak up and trust yourself. Like you're on the team for a reason. You have a valued opinion, and we want you there because we want to hear from you. So if you see something that we're doing that you think is just absolutely mental, or you think that there's a way that you can improve something, like speak up and talk to us about it. I think that's really important. It'll make all of us a bit better and stronger. And then the last thing is kind of an echoing of that, but it's to rely on the team. So it's really important for all of us that there's a support system there all the time, not just for new joiners and not just for people who are working remotely, but for the people who've been here a bit longer as well, to be able to say at any stage, either I'm struggling with something or I don't understand something, and just ask the team. And what I really have loved about being here is that team, that kind of vibe in the team has never gone away. You know, even as we've gotten bigger, as soon as somebody says I need help with something, there's like 6 people jumping in straight away to say like I'll drop what I'm doing and help you out with it. So they would be the 3 big things for me in terms of joining and being successful, you know.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and oh, sorry, Don.
Thank you, Eleanor. Go ahead.
I just echo what the others were saying. I think especially as a new joiner recently, I really admire the way we do meetings. I always come away from them feeling like everyone supports what you're doing and wants to help each other. On the marketing team as well, what's nice is we do kind of project-based stand-ups. So we'll kind of work towards a specific project, or we'll jump on with each other and we'll live collaborate if that's what's needed. But equally, if people do need time to do their quiet work, we're not overloading people with meetings either, which I think is really great in a remote setting. I think a lot of people have meeting fatigue. Yeah.
Thank you. And that's actually a great point, which there was a question came on Slack about asynchronous communication, and maybe that ties into what you were just saying. Meeting fatigue is a real issue, and I think specifically for teams that are working remotely, there does need to be a balance. There needs to be some kind of agreement in place where people value each other's time, because asynchronous versus synchronous communication really can be it can be valuable for different types of collaboration. So I know that this is very much, again, what Workvivo specialize in. So there might be something you can give advice on how people could bring what type of asynchronous communication or what type of async tools are useful when people are looking to interview or looking to discuss with you, maybe on that when they get in touch at careers@workvivo.com. Maybe there's some advice there that you guys have.
In terms of this, probably I'm going to come at this in 2 ways. I think in terms of employees today, people have a preference in how they like to communicate, because sometimes when you are on Zoom a lot, the last thing I want to do is jump on a Zoom call. So you'll know I'll give that person a quick phone call, or that person really doesn't like the destruction of Slack, I'll email them. So you get to know what someone's preference is in terms of how they like to communicate. Slack now do a huddle, so you can jump on and it's like a quick phone call, but just changing up the type of way you communicate people is really great as well. And voice notes, they've started doing Slack, and I know the marketing team are really trying the voice notes on Slack, but it's just different ways to communicate. But what I would say in terms of candidates interviewing, we've had candidates send us videos of a 2-minute video introducing themselves and just saying a little bit about themselves in 2 minutes. And I swear it's so great to just, rather than send an email, send a personalized video, because the person on the receiving end gets a really great feel for you, and that's really creative. So it can be other things. We also had somebody recently do out a pitch of how to take our LinkedIn followers to 10, 15,000 followers. And it's just different ways to differentiate yourself and get that little bit of creative spark into applying for the role. But definitely for me, I love the video side of things. I think you get a really great feel for somebody. We do it ourselves. It's so easy to use a tool called Loom to create a very quick tutorial. And sometimes if a customer has an issue, I'll go create the Loom and send it back to them and walk through step by step rather than emailing, because you do have so many communications that's in a similar format. Just changing it up ever so slightly can mean a lot to somebody and have a big impact.
Yeah, and even to add to that, what we find on the engineering side, so say for example, if you're setting into working on a big feature, you might want people's input on the approach that you're going to take. So we use a tool called Notion. So for example, if I was working on something and I wanted other people's input, I would create a Notion doc describing what I want to do, and I'd send it to the team and just be like, hey, could you look at this by Thursday, for example? And that gives everyone their own time. And like when they find is their dedicated time, or especially in development, someone wants that kind of like quiet time to work on something, we'd work together then to say, okay, yeah, let's like go this afternoon, update your Slack status, and if I need you, I'll phone you, for example. You know, because we are a small team at times too, and we're small but big, you know, we do need to depend on each other. So it's nice, you know, and everyone's very considerate of it as well. It's like, okay, I just need a little bit of quiet time, but I'm not totally unreachable. So I think that's where we do find we strike a good balance then, and that people can communicate with you to say like, hey, I just need this time to get my head into this, and we work with each other then, and to kind of be flexible as well in terms of what works and what suits different people.
That's great. Thank you so much. And that really is fantastic advice based on our conversations with members of the Jobs Club who have attended previous calls, and people on Slack who get in touch about different jobs and our own jobs board. These types of things are what makes the difference. It gives confidence. It gives just even an insight, but even, you know, getting loom.com there just to check out what Loom is, the idea that it's okay to send a video message to a colleague, the idea that it's okay to use voice notes, and actually that these are creative ways of being efficient in meetings and actually avoiding Zoom fatigue and these kinds of things. So it's brilliant to get that experience and that wisdom from the specialists and the experts from Workvivo. So I'm sure this will be really, really useful for our community. I know it's coming on. It's actually 5:45 right now. So we're going to finish it up now. And I just love to exactly remind you of the careers@workvivo.com. That's the place to reach out. Clara mentioned that they're free to answer questions, to even take some short calls, and just to explore anyone who's interested in any of those roles that were listed there. So I'll hand over to you, Clara, just to finish up. But I just want to say thank you so much to Andrea, to Eleanor, to Jen, and to Clara for your fantastic insight and for sharing what it's like to work at Workvivo and what it's like to roll down the hill.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, no, look, Donald, you kind of summed it up really, really well. We do have, you know, we sometimes describe what it's like working here is you're on a train that's going really fast and we're building the track as we go. So if you are interested in helping us build the track and join us on this roller coaster, please do get in touch. And like I said, there are a lot of open roles, and there's some roles that are open that weren't on that slide. So if you do have anything at all, please just reach out to us at careers@workvivo.com. And thanks so much for tuning in today.
Wonderful. And it really does sound like a fantastic place. And it's very exciting to see these initiatives, very progressive, exciting ways to work together and ways to keep people happy when they're working. And it really does sound like you guys have that energy, and just wanted to say thank you for sharing that this evening. So we will, of course, direct anybody who gets in touch with us. I know Eleanor has been active on Slack, so anyone, any questions, you can get in touch with us, and we'll put you in touch with Workvivo. Otherwise, careers@workvivo.com. And yeah, thanks again for joining us for Jobs Club, and we'll be in touch. We'll let you know when the next one is. Thanks a million. And I sent a survey there in the chat. So if you want to just take 40 seconds, literally, just to let us know how this evening went for you, then we can go forward building our Jobs Club for people who are looking for remote jobs going forward. So Jess says, thanks everyone. Sounds like an amazing company to work for. Thanks, Jess. Neve says, thanks so much, ladies. Sounds like a great place to work. Grania, thanks a million. Sounds like a fantastic place to work. Moira says, thanks very much. Very interesting session. Yeah, so really, really enjoyed that, and talk to you guys soon.
Thanks so much, guys. Cheers.